This is Vigilantee, the hip-hopologist for ReasonForRhymes.com in your black world. And I also have a fellow partner of mine that's on air with me right now. Let people know who I'm talking to.
This is Maria Lloyd, business manager and editor for the Your Black World Network at Dr. Boyce Watkins. Good to talk to you, brother.
No doubt, no doubt. I'm glad to talk to you. You know, we definitely know what's been piping hot this week is the Emmett Till, Lil Wayne situation, and now I saw on one of your stories that prompted me to do this interview with you is the story about Future and him kind of downplaying what Lil Wayne did. When you first did this story, what was you thinking? Like, wow, in your mindset?
Actually, I was a little annoyed. I was actually pretty upset when I listened to or viewed his interview. I was upset because I was like, you cannot be serious right now. Like, I felt like his remark was very arrogant. If anything, what I picked up from his response was he was annoyed. You know, he was like, man, this was a hot song. You know, that was the first thing that came out of his mouth about the song being hot. And basically him looking like he was a little annoyed by the fact that they had to change it up a little bit. So my first reaction, my initial reaction to the video was anger. I was like, he cannot, you know, that's so disrespectful. But then as I sat back and really thought about it, that's when I, you know, as you can tell from the article, I kind of changed my perspective and took a little bit of the blame off of him and Lil Wayne and put it back on the black community as a whole.
No doubt, no doubt. And I definitely agree. It almost reminds you, I don't know if you're familiar with the movie Do the Right Thing. With Spike Lee's movie Do the Right Thing. You haven't seen that one?
No, I'm not a movie person, so mostly, you know, most of the time when I reference a movie, I have no clue what they're referencing.
Well, we'll have to let you see Do the Right Thing. There's a scene in there where they want to boycott the pizza place, right? And the people didn't want to follow along. They didn't want to follow along suit with boycotting the pizza place. So they say, I'm not going to boycott these pizzas because the pizza is good. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I think about when I hear Future saying that it was a hot song. I'm like, people were, you know, just because it's a hot song doesn't make it right. And I just think that people are so money motivated and are so controlled by the puppet masters when it comes to the music industry. But like I say, it goes into a deeper thing with what you said, that the community. Can you elaborate a little bit more why you started putting the blame on the community? Because I definitely agree with you, but can you kind of elaborate with the audience a little bit more about that, your concept of that?
Sure. Basically, you know, I believe that we have just become so divided. It seemed like it just worsened, like in the 80s, especially when the whole drug epidemic hit our communities. And, of course, we all know that the government played a huge role in that, but nobody says a word, but that's another story for another day. And basically what you have in the black community is you have the haves and the have-nots. And the haves have, you know, they've acquired this sense of, you know, arrogance in a way. Like, they're like, well, you know, that's too bad, and if I can do it, they can do it, and they should know better. And it's like, well, no, you know, we don't need to make that assumption that everybody, quote-unquote, knows better. I mean, what does that even really mean? You know, like, we need to, I feel like as a community, every single African-American has an obligation to go back and help those who are struggling, especially the kids. The kids are not asked to be born in these poverty-stricken communities. So I think every last one of us, those of us who quote-unquote know better or are well-to-do, we have an obligation to give back. I mean, you don't see the Jews just kind of leaving their brothers and sisters out there, you know, lost. They go back and they help their people. Of course, I'm not saying all Jews are wealthy, but guess what? The mass majority of them are. And they own these record labels and all these other major networks. I mean, we're talking billions of dollars. And so, you know, I just think the community as a whole, we need to stop trying to detach ourselves from products of the environment like Future and Lil Wayne, who are obviously very ignorant when it comes to black history. We don't need to detach ourselves from that. We need to understand that they are a reflection of us. Whether we grew up in that circumstance or not, they are a reflection of the community at large, and it is our obligation to educate those brothers, to respect those brothers, and love those brothers. Now, on the flip side, if they refuse to be educated, if they don't care about our respect or our love, at that point we have an obligation to silence them. Because guess what? The cancer of ignorance is just going to spread throughout the community. We cannot allow rappers and athletes and all these other entertainers to keep teaching our kids. Unfortunately, there aren't enough intelligent African-American entertainers who are positive influences on our youth. There just aren't enough of them. There's too many ignorant, people, entertainers. So we have an obligation to go back and teach these individuals who are in the spotlight, if we can reach them, or touch these people in the youth. Touch the youth in the community and, mentor them. And that's where I'm going with that.
I agree wholeheartedly. It's almost like, and also like me being an artist and also, working for Your Black World and Regional Rhyme, I still see that the community doesn't support people that do positive stuff. I think the young people, I go to different schools and I speak to young teenagers as well as young adults, and they say, well, we hadn't seen nobody positive successful. I think what's happening is a lot of ignorance is, it pays to be ignorant. Ignorant is bliss, and it pays to be ignorant. And I think that until the community start, uplifting even sisters like you who's doing things positive, with your writings and your young editor, and you're doing things like that. I think we have to continue showing these kids that there's other ways to be successful and have respect. I think also when it comes to, hip hop artists, even R&B, you think about R&B, Maria, R&B is dead. Because every artist that come out, instead of love and soul music from the 80s and 90s, 70s, and on down, they want to be pop stars. So it's almost like we're being taught to, not only we're abandoning ourselves, we've been taught to abandon our race about the things that we bring to the table. So it's like we strive to be like every other race but ourselves, but every other race is benefiting off the blood of us. And to me, I think that until you make people like Lil Wayne and show that, to me, this week showed that if people get together and bond together and stand for things, that you can get something done. I think we, not just Wayne, but a lot of ills in our society, if we attack it with a united front, I think that we show power. Because to me, power to the people is great, but without unity, then we're powerless. And right now, we need to get back unified and showing respect in the community. So I definitely agree with you. Also, so what do you think, by Lil Wayne not saying now, what do you think that he should do, or if anything?
I think that we should first not judge Lil Wayne and Future. See, the problem is attacking them is not going to solve anything. Now let's look at the situation. Yes, F.A. Reid, which is Future's manager and, the executive over at Epic Records, which is Future's label, he has acknowledged the fact that that lyric or that verse will be taken out of the song. The label has, said that you're going to take it out of the song as well. Lil Wayne said, he didn't have any bad intentions when he recorded it. And, of course, we know what Future said. He also kind of piggybacked off Lil Wayne and said there were no bad intentions. So the thing is, though, do they understand? Okay, do they really understand why the community was outraged by that lyric? And I think the thing is, we have to come from a place of love. I know Reverend Kevin Cosby and Dr. Boyce Watkins quote him all the time, and I'm going to quote him too. He always says, before you correct, you must connect. And with that, what I take from that mantra, if you will, is that we have to come at these men or these young women in the community with love. We have to come at them with no judgment whatsoever. For instance, if the brother is out in the corner selling drugs, instead of going up to him and saying, hey, you need to stop selling drugs, you're corrupting our community, go talk to that brother. Find out why is he selling drugs. Ask him, can I help you find a job to take you off the streets? Because at the end of the day, we can keep walking around here preaching to the youth and saying, oh, you need to do this or you need to stop doing that. But they got families to feed. What you going to tell somebody when their stomach is growling at night? Oh, you need to stay in school and learn how to, be an astronaut or something? No, when your stomach is growling at night, the last thing you're thinking about is, I need to get up and go to school in the morning. You're thinking about, how can I feed this hunger that I have? And if selling drugs is the quickest way for you to get to that, guess what? That's what you're going to do. And we cannot judge that. It's not something that we, obviously we should not condone it or like it, but we definitely should not judge it. We should understand where they're coming from and say, look, brother or sister, if you're hungry, come over to my house. I got some food for you. Let's talk. How can I help you get your life in order? And that's it.
I agree.
That's all I'm saying.
I agree with it. To a certain extent, I believe that, like you say, when you're dealing with kids and but see, that's, to me, that's been always the excuse of how a drug dealer or somebody can get away with it. Well, I'm doing this to feed my kids. But at whose expense are you feeding your kids? That's the first thing I would say. So by you feeding your kids, you're actually hurting somebody else, because somebody else is getting caught up on crack. And, you hear drug dealers say all the time that, if I wouldn't do it, somebody else would do it. I think certain people, I agree with you, but like for Lil Wayne and for me personally, you know what I'm saying, when you're dealing with something that it's almost like you should know better, but then, like you say, ignorant means that you don't know. But I think that we have to, I've learned, at least dealing with talking to kids and talking to other artists, because I'm a rapper myself. When I write something, Maria, I know what the hell I'm writing. So I know when I make this, if you make a statement about Emmett Till, first of all, you had to know who Emmett Till was. That's why I don't buy that with Lil Wayne, because you had to know what Emmett Till was to put his name, inside of your reference. So you could have said, beat it up like Mayweather, or beat it up like, Mike Tyson or Jack Hammer. Or even Chris Brown, if you wanted to talk about that with Rihanna. It still would have been bad, but to know that, to me, you had to know who Emmett Till was. And to me, the ignorance and thinking it's a hot line made, people say, made them say, let's go ahead and rock with that. But to me, not knowing that, because black people really, sometimes we don't never go after people. So it's almost like standing in line at Walmart, and it's where a white person handles something in line, she might be like, well, let me see your manager. Our stereotype is we might fuss at them and so on, so we give them what they want. To me, making him uncomfortable, because I can think about this, and shame on some of the rappers too. I come from a time, Maria, where Chuck D, KRS-One, and rappers united in the late 80s and 90s, and they spoke out against certain things. Nobody's speaking out about nothing. We held people accountable for certain things you did. We're not trying to take away your First Amendment. It's just certain things we know better. You know what I'm saying? And to me, you're right. If you're hungry, I do believe that talking, you got to come with solutions. A lot of times people talk about the problem, but they don't talk about the solution or how you can get there. But to me, time, prison, that boys talk about a lot, the virus in the place where we're both from, Chicago, you see it. There's many other indicators to tell you why you shouldn't sell drugs, why you're going to jail, why we can try to do other things, but I think we go with what's easy. It's much easier to say that it's a hotline. I didn't mean no harm about it. Or so and so. I mean, if you rationalize stuff like that, then you would never ever get nobody accountable for things, I believe. But to the bigger story, what you're saying is it do take us as a community to have solutions for somebody. Because you're right. If my lights are off and I got no water, and you try to tell me to go to school, that's 4 years. I got to try to get there. I need something now. And I think that I agree with you. I think the rich people need to put something now. Something that can get me now. I need a job now. I need to work now. Give me some, bail me out, Obama.
Right.
So I agree with you on that sense. Yeah. But go ahead.
And I understand what you're saying too. And, again, I mean, it's certainly not something that, that I'm happy to say. Like, I mean, because clearly my family, my family was pretty much destroyed because of drugs. I mean, so I'm definitely not happy to say, well, let's understand why that brother is on the corner selling drugs. But at the same token, again, I'm not going to judge it, because if that is the only option that dude or that female knows about, then, I mean, they got to feed themselves and they got to feed their family. So until those of us who, quote unquote, know better and are well-to-do can go back and educate those brothers and sisters, then really I cannot blame them for doing it. I don't like it, but if I'm not going back and talking to them and saying, look, there are alternatives. If I can, I'll feed you and your family every night if you'll promise me you'll never stand on this corner again. Now, I guarantee you, of course, you're still going to have some ignorant folks who are going to be like, oh, man, forget it. I still want to be out here and do my thing, and that's fine. Let them be. But those who are open to it, feed them. Feed them. Take care of them. Don't judge them. And that's where
I agree. Like I said, I wrestle with that. The reason I say I wrestle with that, because the ones that say they're feeding the kids rolling around in nice cars, rims, buying out the bar, making it rain. So it's hard for me to think that. To me, it goes with a pay raise. I think they can get a job at McDonald's. They can get a UPS. Those jobs have high turnover rates. So they can get a job. It's just they won't be able to get a job making the money they make. And to me, that's the reason a lot of people get into it. And they're willing to risk going to jail for 20 to 30 years in a system that's corrupt. Don't even give you the same sentence as cocaine or something else. And they're willing to shoot and kill over that. So to me, that ain't the person that we're reaching. I think, but the one that they ain't got, I think out of 5 drug dealers, if we could do this, and this is not scientific, it's probably 1 or maybe 2 like what you're talking about. But the majority is it's quicker money. It's fast money. I can get it quick. It's perks with coming to being a drug dealer. I grew up around it, so I know exactly what you're talking about. But a lot of them guys watch their friends go to jail, watch their friends get killed, and somehow in their mind they rationalize and say, it ain't going to happen to me. They was just slipping. So they didn't want to work. Man, I can't work. It's almost like a soldier that comes back and try to be a civilian. He's so used to that life as a soldier, he goes back and re-enlists because he's not used to being a civilian. Well, the same way with drug dealing. If you're drugged and making a certain amount of money, you can't tell the drug dealer making 10 racks, a week to go work at McDonald's for $8 an hour. So it's a bigger problem. It's a quagmire. It's a bigger problem than that. But you're right, though. But no matter what the problem is, like you said, if we do our part, we can at least say that we put it out there, gave them options. If they choose to do that, then they have no more excuse. And to me, Lil Wayne have no excuse for what he did. And I'm not saying that he knows everything, but you're coming from the South, he knows something. He's not dumb. They know about a lot of things, so I don't think he was dumb when he did that. I just think he probably thought it was a high line and ain't nobody gonna trip on it. Because look, I'll be honest, the movement now compared to how the movement was even in the 80s or 70s or the 60s nobody believe us. So I bet he thought ain't nobody gonna talk about that, because black people don't really care about stuff like that. He was proven wrong by your black world and other people that said, no, you can't do that. Emmett Till's family, because I did this on the other interview, Maria. If he had said John Benet Ramsey the same way he did Emmett Till, what you think the backlash would be then? That's what
That's a good question. Yeah, I'm not sure, because I don't know if white folks care enough about Lil Wayne because the thing is, I don't think their children are not influenced as heavily by Lil Wayne as our children are. So to them, he's a non-factor. But for us,
they buy the records though.
Yeah, they are buying the records, but again, they're not influenced by it. It's solely entertainment for them. For our kids,
you're right.
Because of the broken home dynamic, it's like they idolize this rapper. That is their father in the absence of their real father. So they're really taking these lyrics and it's resonating with them.
So you trying to tell me a little? Look at the burn that John Benet Ramsey got when that case came out about the little girl being murdered. You trying to tell me, if Lil Wayne said, I'll beat the up, much as Lil Wayne is on MTV and do all these other things, he got a big white fan base. If they heard that line and if somebody else passed it along, you don't think that it would have been such a backlash? I looked at Tracy Morgan, he said a gay joke, and he had to damn near fly back to Nashville to apologize. I just think that when it comes to our agenda, I think that we're talk or push to say, well, it doesn't really matter like that. It's different. But you say something about, do something with animals, you got Peter jumping. You say something about the gay movement, you got gay people jumping. You say something about this anti-Semitic, you got Jews jumping. But it seems like when it comes to us, we expect it to just, oh well.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe that's one of my calls. Huh?
No, oh yeah, no, I was going to say I agree. I mean, I think we're so used to being abused that when it does circle back and it's on us, like we think that that's okay. But I was going to say in regards to the John Benet question, it's not that I don't think that there would be outrage. The thing is, though, if somebody even hears that song, because see, the thing is, that song is not Lil Wayne's song; it's Future's song.
No. Yeah, exactly.
So you know, I don't know if white folks are really checking for Future like that. But if it was a Lil Wayne song and it was the single off of his latest album, then that's something different. Yeah, I think there probably would be outrage from, you know, the white community.
He'd be shut down.
Yeah, he would. He would definitely be shut down. But I think because it's Future's song and Lil Wayne simply featured on it, I don't think it would cause too much of a uproar, but who knows? I don't know. I mean,
you're right.
I don't know.
I think I place the blame on Future too. I might even slightly place a little bit more blame on him if it wasn't Lil Wayne. But because, like, when you do music, like if I want you on my song, I say, Maria, here's the beat, go ahead and lay your vocals down. Once I get it back to my house or to the studio and listen to it, if I don't like that, I'll be like, hold up. Wait a minute, you can't say that one, bro. You know what I mean? You might have to go back, sisters. You might have to go back and change the line. That line about Emmett Till. We don't want to get in trouble. Even if I don't care about it or nothing, I'd have to come back with that. So that goes back to what you said earlier. Maybe Future was so ignorant of Emmett Till, he didn't catch that.
Right. Oh yeah. I mean, I definitely think Future is. You know, I mean, even if you just listen to how he responded to it, if you watch the video, it's in the article that I wrote. I mean, Future is really uneducated. His subjects and verbs didn't even agree. I mean, he's not an educated guy at all. So I'm not surprised that he would actually say the song is hot. That's his first response. It's not, I apologize that we offended the legacy of Emmett Till. His first response was, man, the song was hot. So that in itself just tells you the level of ignorance that he has. And, you know, I just think, and I kind of want to piggyback a little bit when you were talking about the drug dealers in the community and how you said that they have enough sense to, once they get that drug money, they have enough sense to go and splurge on the rims and stuff like that. What I want to say about that is, we got to think about the mentality of the people in these neighborhoods. A lot of them don't plan to live past 15. I mean, really, right? They don't plan. They literally do not plan to see 21. They don't plan to see 18. They don't plan to see 16. So if you're a drug dealer and you're coming from that community, and you're getting this fast money and it's a lot of it, then yeah, you are going to splurge because literally your entire life has just been about survival. Like you don't give a damn about a career. You don't care about, you know, raising a family. You don't care about an education. Your whole life has been centered around, okay, how can I avoid getting my butt kicked while I'm, you know, going to the store today? How can I how can I outrun the gang who wants to kill me? The guys who have a price on their heads. That has been their mentality their entire life. So, again, I think it just takes us going back and literally educating these people and letting them know there are other options. You know, you can live to see 21. You can live to see 60 if you play your cards right. And I think that's where the community has to really start reaching back and educating people because they have no clue.
Great point. I agree wholeheartedly. You're right. We have to show them the way and hope that we can get. I also think that we have to make a balance. I think there's got to be a time in the community. People stand up in the entertainment field and say, we have to start pushing, you know, because like you said, I think a lot of people say that they don't want to see the ignorant stuff, but they support it because everybody time somebody like a Common who's from Chicago comes out with something, he don't sell like the other guy selling, and people really was outraged about it, like you said. Common will be going platinum. Why? Because he's doing something different, you know, and they don't. Most Def and all these other artists that go out there and try to, you know, raise your consciousness up, you know, they don't even get, you know, they're lucky if they go gold. So I agree with you. Until we show the kids, because like you say, if I'm on the streets, like you said in Chicago, and I'm watching thug rappers make money, and watching conscious rappers struggle, the only way going to make me as a little kid want to change if I see that Common is just as big as 50 Cent. So I got a choice to go. I can go Common route or 50 Cent route. But who you see? Rick Ross, all these other type of artists that's promoting thug stuff, and heck, so that's where the money at. So that's where I'm going. But like you said, but in the 80s, you saw Fight the Power, KRS-One, and it made you want to wear your medallions and your Malcolm X shirts and stuff because that was in the forefront.
Exactly.
You're right. So it's on us. So any parting shots you want to give out, my sister, because I know I reach you every day.
Yes, definitely. I am finally on Twitter.
Okay.
I don't even know my Twitter handle. Wait a minute. What is it? Oh, it's Writings by Maria. That's my Twitter handle, whatever this thing is called. As you can see, I don't understand Twitter yet, so I'm new to the Twitter space, and that's how I can be reached. And of course, Your Black World Network. Writing every day, so I can be reached on there as well.
Oh, yes. See, she be getting it in, y'all, so I'm definitely a fan. This has been Vigilante for Your Black World and Reason for Lions, and we both are out.